Yep, we gave up alcohol as a couple. Well, kind of. I went 88 days without a drink. My husband, during that time period, maybe he had 5 drinks or so. Now, for context, we used to drink about 2-3 times per week. So this was a pretty big shift for us. And usually it involved finishing a bottle of wine each time. What happened? Let's talk about it. Hey, gorgeous, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Mireille Nicole, and I share all things relationships, healthy eating, and non-toxic living on my channel. I'd love for you to stick around and subscribe. Today's video is part of my Healthy Couple Habits series. I know the struggle of wanting to be aligned in health habits with your partner, especially when you're on totally different pages in some areas. But my goal is to show you that it's possible to make it work. And I'm sharing my own personal experiences so you can feel encouraged and not overwhelmed as you navigate your own journey. Now let's dive into something we never thought we'd do: give up alcohol, almost. Especially since it's always been a part of our date nights or weekend rituals, tailgating after mountain biking together, and just because it's Friday. Let's be honest, alcohol is often part of how we connect. We think of a nice romantic, a nice glass of red wine during a romantic dinner. And don't we all want to feel more connected with our partners? So when I told my husband I was going to give up alcohol for 60 days as part of my training for a mountain bike race we were doing together, the vibe at first was a little bit weird. It's something I had been considering for a while, but kept thinking, oh, will we still have fun on date nights if we're not drinking? Like I said, a glass of red wine just sounds so romantic, and it felt like such a big shift in our rhythm. But at the same time, alcohol often had a negative impact on our relationship. Although there'd be the buzz together, it was fun, and we'd loosen up, especially after the day-to-day grind. We get super chatty, and we dream even bigger together. But if I'm being totally real, I'd often get a little bit snappy with my husband when we drank too much. It would often bring up things in me that I hadn't yet fully resolved. And when the buzz wore off, I just wouldn't feel as good. I became way less emotionally intelligent and accepting in our relationship, and I just wasn't showing up the way I wanted to. Date night would often be cut short because I would often fall asleep super early, and it would actually annoy my husband. And from a health perspective, it would give me the night sweats, which didn't make me want to spoon or cuddle my husband. So there you go, another way it negatively impacted our relationship. Then the next day, I would just feel puffy-faced and I feel like crap. And I would be a lot less motivated to work on my business and do the things I love and record these videos for you. And again, that also shifted the way I showed up in the relationship. So I gave it up completely for not only 60 days, but I made it past the race to 88 days. My husband, like I said, had maybe 5 drinks during that entire time, and we did just fine. And by the way, that's also reflective of our other health habits. When I talk about how my husband did have a few drinks during that time period, I just tend to be stricter with, the things that I do. And my husband tends to give himself a bit more slack, right? So like my diet is pretty hardcore vegan or plant-based, but sometimes my husband will order, chicken or fish every once in a while when we're out at a restaurant. There was no big pressure in this case with the alcohol, and I don't put any pressure on our relationship in terms of our dietary preferences and our health habits. There's no we must be perfect and we must do everything the same vibe. Just curiosity and experimenting with things together. In this case, we just wanted to notice, how would we feel? Would we perform better mountain biking? What changes would we see? Would we miss it? Or would we miss it not so much, maybe? And honestly, we didn't miss it that much. I had way more energy to work out, to be creative, and do the things that genuinely make me happy. And that naturally made me show up better in my relationship. My husband and I still had a ton of fun together, and we started making these new associations, right? So in the past, we would always associate, there's this awesome spa by where we live, and we'd also always, associate going there with having a nice mulled wine in the winter time in these Scandinavian baths with all the snow and under the moon and stuff, right? And we can still enjoy that now without that glass of mulled wine. And obviously, it's been said that alcohol is a class 1 or a group 1 carcinogen, the same category as cigarettes. So kind of like when I put all those things together and really let it sink in, I started seeing our casual drinks a little bit differently. The novelty and the romance started fading. And since doing this experiment, I decided that moving forward, I would drink 1 drink per month. So I started this experiment in April. That's when we decided to stop and train for our race, which was in June. And then after that, well, we were going to see what happened. And now it seems that my husband is on board also for the once a month. So I'm really excited to see how far we move forward with it, because August was our first month of just drinking once a month. And then we'll see, now we're September. We haven't had a drink yet, and we're September 9th. Now we just bond over being excited that, oftentimes we're just not hungover the next day or groggy, and we still have we're still full of energy to do what we want to do. And we can go to the restaurant now, and we tend to order mocktails, and we have a great time because now we're always, having fun ordering these different non-alcoholic drink and seeing who picks the better tasting one. And for whatever reason, it seems to always be my husband who picks the better tasting mocktail, but whatever, that's awesome. And I even started getting creative myself, and we make mocktails at home. So our date nights didn't lose their magic. Sure, it's nice to use alcohol to connect, but it's even more powerful connecting without any artificial help. So I made it to 88 days. And then what happened, if you're curious, is we went to Europe. So we went to Europe in July. And let's just say that Italy was calling, and we answered with an Aperol Spritz and some Prosecco. And then we went to Paris, and Paris told us we needed a glass of red wine. So that's how we broke the 88 days. And like I said, we didn't fall back into our old patterns. August, we had 1 drink, and now we're going to see where the plan takes us. And not because we're being restrictive, but because we genuinely feel better that way. It's about choice, not about habit anymore. This whole experience just taught me that alcohol wasn't really the thing that made our time together special. It was just a backdrop. It was just another accessory. What made it meaningful was being present, being curious, being us, being together. And if you're thinking of trying something similar, I want to say this. You don't have to go all or nothing. You don't have to feel pressure to do it exactly the same way with your partner. It can still work. And maybe you just try, a sober weekend if your husband or your partner is not really into it. Or maybe you swap 1 drink a week for a mocktail and just see how that goes. There's no shame in experimenting. Do what makes you feel the most alive and connected together. The fun and the connection comes from figuring out what works best for you guys as a couple. If you found this helpful, give it a like, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss a future episode of Healthy Couple Habits. And hey, drop your favorite mocktail recipe in the comments. If you have one, I'll put mine in the description. And let me know, would you ever go 60 days without drinking? Have you gone more than 60 days without drinking? I'd love to hear your story, and let me know if your partner is on board. Thank you so much for watching, and watch this video next.